Everyone, let's begin with mathematical functions part 1. So as I had mentioned, every single file is going to be divided. Every single file will have two files. Every folder is given 1.1, 1.2. Mathematical functions folder would be there, and you would have a function file and you would have a solution file for each. You would have a function file and solution file for each function. So right now we'll start with the mathematical functions part 1 file. The solution file is for your reference back at home later on. In case you've forgotten something, you can always, the files are made in such a manner that after 6 months, if you want to revise something, since once you've done the training, you want to revise something, you can just open the question file and the solution file and you'll be able to absolutely revise the whole thing, right? So let's start off with the first file, mathematical functions part 1. There are two files, part 1 and part 2. Everybody, mathematical functions part 1. Everybody on the screen over here, please. So now, when you want to move across the sheet, I'll keep on repeating the shortcuts. You're expected to start using those and learning those. One more thing before I start, for everyone who is using a laptop, please invest in a mouse. It is going to make your fingers pain a little lesser and you will be able to do your work faster instead of using the trackpad on your laptops. Because when you're using the mouse, you can simultaneously be typing with your left hand also. Right? So it's always advisable to invest in a mouse. So always use a mouse, wire, wireless, whatever, but it will make your work faster. Normally we kind of refrain from carrying a mouse along, you know, but then it's always advisable to carry a mouse all the time. So everyone over here, please. Alright, so when you want to move to the next sheet, you press control page down. You want to move across sheets, your navigation would be control page up, control page down. For your reference, on my screen over here, I am putting this bar over here. This shows what keystrokes I am using, right? So you can see what exactly I am typing over here. So control page down and control page up. Control page down and control page up is to move across sheets. You will never be clicking on sheets to move across. So it's always going to be a control page up and a control page down. So in order to move across sheets, it's going to be control page up and control page down. Everybody with me over here? Alright, so in the first sheet, we're looking at the summation function. I know it's very basic, but I'll tell you 2-3 tricks over here as well. Alright, in the summation function, when you're looking at the sum function, Excel has got a typical way in which you're supposed to be writing a formula. The formula is always supposed to be starting with an equal to sign, or you can also start it with a plus sign. The utility is, for those who are for those who have a number pad in laptops, you will see a very huge button. There is a huge button, a plus button and an enter button on the rightmost side. So you know, without looking at the keyboard, you can actually press the button and start writing the formula. For equal to, there will be a small button and you'll probably have to look at it and press that. Therefore, you can always start a formula with either an equal to sign or a plus sign. Either ways works. But you have to start with either an equal to sign or a plus sign. Every single formula has to be started this way. The moment you start typing a formula, all the options with that particular alphabet starts coming in as a list over here. The moment I start typing S, all the functions with S is there. I type U, SU, all functions beginning with SU is there. I type sum and the sum function comes in. Now when you scroll down, you can absolutely use your arrow keys to scroll up and down with those function names. And you can see the description coming in. Say for example, sum SQ. Some SQ is telling you, there's a small one, I'll not be able to maximize this one. There's a small little sentence that comes in over here, returns the sum of squares of the arguments. The arguments can be numbers, array, names or anything. So it is going to provide the squares of the numbers. So as you scroll up and down, you get the description of that particular function on the screen. So I want to choose the function sum. It's very simple. I need to press a tab key in order to automatically complete the function name and also to open brackets. Now say for example, I was using a function, something as huge as sum product. I just need to press tab and sum product will automatically get typed and the bracket will also open, right? Since I don't want to use it, I'm just erasing it. Equals to sum and tab. Sorry, equals to sum and tab. The moment you press tab, a bracket opens up. You don't need to type the bracket. All you need to do is press tab button. Once you do that, I want to suppose take a summation of these 4 cells over here. I take the summation, press enter and the summation is over here. You don't need to manually close a bracket because if there's only one bracket that you've opened, Excel automatically understands that the bracket needs to be closed and it closes it. In case there are multiple functions, we'll do those things later on. In case there are multiple functions and multiple brackets, you will have to close the brackets manually, because then Excel does not know where to close which bracket. As long as there's only one bracket, you don't need to close it. You can just press an enter and it works, right? Then when you're looking at, so a better way could be, so this is very simple. You start the function with an equal to sign, you type the function name, you press tab and you select this data and you press enter. That's very simple. Now say for example, instead of having 4 lines, I had 400 lines worth of data. Instead of having 4 lines, I had 400 lines worth of data. Do you expect to type sum and keep suppose the data starts from here and keep scrolling down for 400 lines? Of course not. Of course it doesn't work that way. Suppose I'll show you, demonstrate it with just these 4 lines over here. So I type equal to sum and I reach over here and I press Control Shift arrow down. Now the job of a control key is to navigate quickly across the sheet. If you see, when I'm using the control keys, it navigates to the last working cell. Now when I'm using a control over here, it comes to cost and then directly to May. Because cost is the next working cell, the next working cell is just in the margin. The next working cell, the last working cell, it always comes to the last working cell that you have on the screen. And shift key is for highlighting, control key is for quick navigation. Control key is for quick navigation and the shift key would be for highlighting. So control shift key combined together is going to navigate to the last cell and also highlight to the last cell. Shift is for highlighting, control key is for quick navigation. So control shift arrow down highlights all these cells. So whether there are 4 cells over here or 4,000 cells, all the cells get highlighted at once. You don't have to highlight it manually. All the cells get highlighted at once. You don't have to highlight these cells manually. Is everybody comfortable till here? And you press enter because I don't need to close the bracket since there's only one bracket. Is everybody absolutely comfortable till here? This is very simple. Every single formula in Excel has to be written in the same manner. It starts with an equal to or a plus sign. You type the function name, you press the tab button, the bracket opens up, you put all the input inside the function and you close the bracket and enter. If it's a single bracket, we leave it as it is. Excel automatically does it for us. It's very simple. The basis of computer is very simple. Input, process, output. The input is within the bracket, the process is the function name, and the output you will see on the screen the moment you press enter. Is everyone comfortable? So control page up, page down is for navigating across sheets. Control arrow keys for navigating across the sheets over here, and shift is for highlighting, and therefore control shift is for highlighting and quick navigation together. Is everyone comfortable? Control page up, page down, moving across sheets. Control arrow keys navigating across. Shift key is for highlighting, and control shift is going to highlight and navigate very quickly for you. There's a better way of doing the summation formula. Now if you see on the home tab, we call this a ribbon. So this part you see is known as ribbon, and these are your tabs over here. So in the home tab, if you see, there is a auto summation button. The moment I click on auto summation, it automatically does the summation for me. Let's say I click on auto summation, it automatically does the summation for me. Excel is smart enough to understand that it needs to be the summation of this column because it is identifying the numbers above this column. Say for example, it is the same auto summation formula you run over here. It automatically recognizes that this is what needs to be taken care of. In case you're not happy with Excel's automatic selection, you can press arrow keys and you can choose your own. Suppose I want to highlight the whole thing. So I click on auto summation and I don't like it, so I can navigate using arrow keys and highlight what I feel like. And see how quickly it works. Control shift right down, control shift right down, and you have the whole section selected over here. Everybody comfortable with me? And now even better way of doing an auto summation would be a simple shortcut, Alt equals to. So you wouldn't even have to press the home button. You don't have to go to the home tab and then press auto summation. All you need to do is Alt equals to and your summation is done. All you need to do is Alt equals to and your summation is done. Please quickly try this much. I'll give you 2 minutes and then we'll continue. Just type the sum formula, use the auto sum by clicking it, try an Alt equals to. Be careful, the Alt button on the left side of the spacebar will be working when you do Alt equals to. If you're using the Alt button on the right side of the spacebar, it shall not be working. So you have to use the Alt key on the left side of your spacebar for Alt equals to work. And everyone just do one favor, just keep your laptops also on the silent mode, because any error you make and the laptop starts pinging. So please put your laptops also on the silent mode. Try this quickly, we'll move forward. Try this quickly, we'll move forward. Are we good till here, everyone? For those who are using MacBooks, I'll provide a comparative list of shortcuts for Windows versus Mac. Everybody comfortable till here? Can we move forward? Alright, everyone, there are two new shortcuts that you need to know over here. So we use a simple Alt equals to and get the auto summation done. We can simply highlight these cells and do a Control R. Normally, when you want to copy paste a formula, what you would be doing is Control C, then highlight this, then Control V. That is what you would be doing. But then Control C, then moving again, then highlighting, then pasting. It's too much of hard work. All we need to do is select these cells. So we are selecting the cells from this one, and we do a Control R. R stands for fill the formula right. R stands for fill the formula right. So whatever is in the leftmost cell, whatever you've got highlighted in the leftmost cell is going to get filled up in the right cells, in all the cells at the end. So that is Control R. And similarly, if I do an Alt equals to at this part, just view on my screen first and then try. If you do the Alt equals to over here and I'm happy with the selection, I press enter. I just need to do a Control D, and D stands for fill the formula down. So Control R stands for fill the formula right, and Control D stands for fill the formula down. So Control D and Control R. We've already done quite a few shortcuts. Control page up, page down, moving across sheets. Control arrow keys, quick navigation. Shift is highlighting. Control shift arrow keys is quick navigation and highlighting. Selecting the cells. Control D, fill the formula down. Control R, fill the formula right. Please remember, you need to select the cell that needs to be filled in the cells down also. So whatever is in the topmost cell that you've highlighted gets filled up in all the cells highlighted below. That is what Control D does for you. That is what Control D does for you. Is everybody absolutely comfortable till here? Everyone understanding? I think this is very easy, this is very basic. We're going a little slow, we'll warm up, we'll get better. Everybody fine till here? Later. Now let's move to the next sheet, count. Let's move to the next sheet, count. I think. Let's move to the next sheet, count. Now count is a very, very simple function. Everybody on the screen, please. Everybody on my screen, please. Alright. When you're looking at the count function, there will be three functions that we'll be learning together. Count, count A, and count blank. When you're looking at the count function, see the syntax of all the functions will be very, very simple. You type an equal to sign, you type the function name, and within the brackets, you put all your inputs. Within the bracket, you put all your inputs. When you're looking at count, count A and count blank, count is going to count all the number of cells that has got some data in it, but that has got only numerical data in it. When you're looking at count A, it will count all the non-blank cells. So whether you're putting a number, whether you're putting a text, it is going to count all those cells. When you're looking at count blank, that is going to count the number of blank cells in the selected range. Now when you're looking at count A or count blank, you might not find it very useful. But when you're going to be combining it with multiple formulas in the sessions ahead, you'll understand the utility of these formulas. Say for example, I'm just giving you a rough idea. Pivots is something that you've not learned right now. But in case of pivots, if any of the cell column headings does not have a name, pivots will not work. You will not be able to use pivots. So there what we do is equals to, suppose we'll do count blank, and then we'll select all the cells over there. In case a count blank is more than 1, and then what we'll do is we'll make that white. We'll make that, suppose the number is 0, right? Now what we'll do is we'll change 0 to white color. We'll change the text of 0 to white color, so you'll not be able to see. We'll learn something called conditional formatting, that if the number is anything less other than 0, you convert the number to red color, and huge number. So the moment there is an error, it strikes out, and if the number is 0, there is no error, it is there in the background and you can't even see it. You know, we need to make our sheets very, very automated. We'll be doing a lot of tricks, especially in the data management module, wherein your sheets should also be color coded. Your input sheets, so you should be inputting all the data in one sheet, and all the rest of the sheets should be flowing the data from that part, because you'll never miss out on any updation of the data. All the input sheets should be, let's say, yellow in color. We'll put all the output sheets in, let's say, green, and all the calculations in blue. So calculation sheet is where you are supposed to be designing your sheets and all. Green sheet is where all the output is. So wherever, if you've put in all the data correctly, green sheets will give you all the analysis, all the data as it is, the way you want to see it, the way it is visible for analysis. So we'll look into those things as to how do you create sheets which is absolutely at par with respect to, when you're working in a corporate environment. And trust me, until unless you've made things automated, until unless you've put in your current job in a auto mode, you'll not be able to scale up to the next level. So you need to first put your current profile in an auto mode, and then we'll be able to move up to a high level. So that is what Excel is going to help you do. So I'll just share one small little experience since we're just starting off with Excel. So I was given a daily dashboard requirement. Now the daily dashboard means collating data from, let's say, 20 different files, 20 different fields. That data comes in. I need to create, let's say, 16 graphs were there. So it was a 4x4 PPT, and it used to be on one single presentation slide, small PPTs, which, we wanted to see the daily production of our fields and all. So 16 multiple data sources, putting all together in 16 graphs, updating all the graphs and everything, and then, updating the comments. It was a 2-hour job, and it was very annoying because I have to do the same thing for 2 hours every day. It is very irritating, of course, right? Collating data, putting in formulas, like the last 7 days production. So every day removing 1 day's production, adding 1 more day's production, shifting the data 1 day behind, updating it. So it was a very annoying process, 2 hours a day daily. That's a sheer wastage of intelligence, I would say. What I did was, it took me 2.5 days, and I automated the whole process using macros and everything and all the tools that is available. At that point of time, I did not know so many tools, so it took me a lot of time, and now if I do it, I would be able to do it in maybe an hour or 2, and I would be able to do it in a much better manner. But then it took me 2 days at that point of time. But then the job was converted into a 15-minute job, and that 15-minute job, 10 seconds used to take to click all those things and get the PPT ready. That would take me hardly half a minute. The 15 minutes was spent on putting in comments based on the analysis of those graphs. So of course that analysis is required from my end. And after that was done, instead of going to office at 8:30 a.m. in the morning, I started going at 9:30 a.m. in the morning, because I had automated 2.5 hours worth of work for myself. So I earned that 1 hour. For some time I was going late, and it was anyways winter mornings that time. So I started going late to office. So that's what I'm saying, that automation can save a lot of time, wherein you'd be able to apply your intelligence to something that requires your effort, right? So getting back, count blank, and count A. There are 3 functions we are looking at. So let's just see quickly. Just spend time looking at what I'm doing on the screen, and I'll give you a couple of minutes to try it yourself. So always look at the screen first, see what I'm doing, and then I'll give you time to try it yourself. All right. The speed is okay. I need to slow down, or do I need to speed up? Slow down a little bit. Okay. React. Give me an answer. It's okay. All right. So count A, and count blank. Everybody with me? So now I type equals to sign to start any function. You start with, let's say, an equals to sign. You start typing the function name. So I have count A, count blank, count if, and count ifs. These are all the options. For every option, you have the description of what the function does beside it. I want to use the count function, suppose. So I'll press a tab, and the function gets automatically typed, and the bracket opens up. Everybody on my screen, I will highlight these 3 cells over here and press enter. Now I want to do a control D, fill the formula down over here. What I've done is equals to count, tab, and I've highlighted these 3 cells. These are the inputs. So I want to count the numerical values out of these 3 cells. I know it's a very basic function, but we'll be able to combine and use it in very different ways. So you need to have the basic functions done and press enter because it's a single bracket. So 3. Now I want to fill the formula down. Here we have only 5-7 cells and I can afford to shift arrow down, down, down. I can do that. But what if I have hundreds of cells below? Left, no. Now control shift down will take me to a very, and in case there was nothing below, it would have taken me down to 1,48,000 or something cell. So I cannot do that. So what do I do? Very simple tricks, and you guys will get very comfortable doing this. I go left, I go control D, control down, I go to the last cell, I go right, control shift up. Very simple, it's very simple. There's nothing to, it's just about habit, it's just about practice. So I need to go down to the cell, left, control down, right, control shift up, and I've got the desired selection highlighted, and then I do a control D. Anyways, I wanted to teach you the count formula. Now if you observe on the screen, I'll give you time, please bear with me, please be on the screen please. So in the first cell, they're all numbers and count is 3. So there are 3 cells which has numerical values. You have a blank and therefore the count is 2. Numbers, negative numbers are also counted. Date is also equivalent to a number. Now how is date and time a number? I will do it in the date functions file. So a date is a number. Now this date is equivalent to, let's say, 32,143. I'll just to get you guys interested, let's say I take today's date. Today's date is equivalent to 43,081. Suppose today's date is 12th of December 2017. Today's date is 43,081. What does this mean? 1st January 1900 is equal to 1. 2nd January 1900 is equal to 2. So today, from 1st January 1900, if you count the number of days, considering all the leap years and everything in between, we have got 43,081 days completed. And that is why you can do all mathematical calculations on date, because every single date is represented by a number. Whenever you're extracting data from SAP or something, the date will come in. There are a lot of issues that happen with date. We'll do a lot of date functions in the date functions file. And in the module 3, we'll do advanced date functions as well. So anyways, just going ahead with that. So date and time is considered number. I'll discuss it in detail. So that is why it is being counted. Text is not being counted. And error is not being counted. And also if you convert something into alphanumeric is also considered text, and that is not counted. So count function is simply counting all the numerical values. Errors are not counted. Alphabets not counted. Alphanumeric not counted. Space is also not counted. Date and time is counted because date and time are technically numbers. Everybody with me? Let me show the 3 formulas and then I'll give you time to do all the 3 together. Count A, the way of writing the formula will be the same. I type equals to sign, I type the function count A this time, and I select all these cells over here and I press enter. Sorry, and control D. So I've got all the cells filled up. Count A is going to basically count all the non-blank cell. You put an error, it will count it. You put a number, it will count it. You'll put an alphanumeric, it will count. It will count anything and everything. So see, there is one blank cell over here. Otherwise, they're all 3. Date, time, number, error is also counted. Only blank cells are the ones that's not counted. So count is calculating numerical values, counting the number numerical cells. Count A is counting the non-blank cells, and count blank, of course, as the name suggests, it's going to count the blank cells. And I don't have the time to type so much. That is why select, arrow down and tab. And that is control D. How did I do that? Again, equals to count blank, tab, enter, control D. Once again, so I move left, control arrow down, last cell, right, control shift up and control D. Let's fill the formula down. Count blank counts the number of blank cells, count A counts the number of non-blank cells, and count is going to count the numerical values. I'll give you 2 minutes, quickly complete this sheet. Are we good till here? Alright, just another minute. I'll do it. I'll keep on repeating the shortcuts, don't worry. In count blank. It's 3. You've done count. I'll check. Alright, done. We'll move forward. Alright, everyone. Alright, everyone over here. So count A and count blank. Count is going to count the numerical values. Count A is going to count the non-numeric, is going to count non-blank cells. So numerical, non-numerical, errors, everything is going to get counted. Count blank is going to count only the blank cells over there. Just repeating one question over here. So control D, kaise? How do you use control D? So suppose I want to fill this formula down. I have to select this cell as well as all the cells below. So whatever is there in the topmost cell gets filled up in the cells below. That is what control D function does. Fill the formula down. If I want to fill the formula down over here, I'll just go to the left cell on the left, control arrow down. I go right over here and control shift up. So I'm getting the desired selection, and then I press control D. So these are tricks that you will develop once you get into the practice mode of it. We'll move to the next sheet. Control page down. I move to the next sheet. They have very simple formulas, formulas over here. We need to calculate the minimum value, the maximum value, and the average value over here. Everybody with me over here? On my screen, please. On my screen over here. So we've got the minimum value, the maximum value, and the average is what we need to find out. You've been given the data for some inventory over here of this company. The lot ID is mentioned, the quantity is mentioned, and I need to calculate the minimum quantity, the maximum quantity, and the average quantity over here. It is just to get you into the practice mode. These are very basic, very easy. You start the function as usual with an equal to sign or a plus sign. You type the function name. For minimum, the function name is min. For maximum, the function name is max. For average, the function name will be average. So you type min, you press tab. Now you don't have to use the mouse, go over here and click over here. You don't need to do that. You can simply use the arrow keys and you see you start navigating across. And the way you're navigating, the address, the input inside the formula bar will start changing automatically. So I type equals to, I type the function name, I press tab and the bracket opens up. I don't have to click over here and then drag this whole thing. It's very annoying to do it that way. All I need to do is I can click on the arrow keys, I can navigate over here and then control shift arrow down. When you do control shift arrow down, you might not be able to see the formula on the screen because I'm quite a few cells below. But if you see in the address bar, we call this a formula bar over here. If you see over here, you see that you're still inside the formula. Till you press enter, till you get out of the formula, you're still inside the formula typing it. And the range mentioned is L3 to L63. That is how you denote a range. Column L, cell number 3 up to column L, cell number 63. That is the range you've chosen, minimum of L3 to L63. Since we do not have the multiple bracket, we just press enter and the minimum formula is done for you. Then I move to the next one, equals to max, tab. I go to the cell and I select the range and enter, and my maximum is 92, minimum is 59. For average quantity equals to, average, tab, function name is completed. I go to the cell, and even when I'm traveling, suppose equals to average, you type the function name, you press tab, you go to left side, control arrow up, then down, not shift down, and then control shift down. I get the desired range selected, and then press enter, and the average is 74.75862. Is that fine till here? So just try this very quickly. It is very simple. Min, max and average are the name of the functions. Equal to sign, function name, and input within the brackets. And when you want to select a range for the input, control shift and arrow keys help you do that quick selection of a large range.
Control up arrow takes me to the first
So
cell.
yeah, control arrow key is navigation. Control shift arrow key. No, first cell is control home. So control home will always take you to A1.
Select the
So yes, so I'll repeat that again. Equals to average, tab, left, left, left. Now control arrow up takes you to the last first working cell. But I need to start highlighting from here. And therefore I come down and then control shift arrow down. Absolutely. A little bit of practice is needed. These things are very simple. Just a little bit of practice. Everyone quickly try. I'll give you a couple of minutes over here. Min, max and average. Done. Are we all done till here? Everyone? Everybody good till here? Alright, now just see on the screen. Everybody please view on my screen once. Now, if suppose I highlight this whole data, if suppose I will highlight this whole data over here, you will be able to see a lot of analysis. I'm sorry I cannot magnify this one, zoom in over here. But in the last row, in the last bar of your Excel, you see the average, the count, the numerical count, minimum, maximum, summation, everything is appearing. So whatever is your highlighted data, so the whole analysis of the highlighted data at any point of time will be appearing on the last bar of your Excel file. In case it is not appearing, average gives you the average, of course. Count gives you the number of data points you've counted, out of which how many cells have got a number is going to give you a numerical count. So count is like your count A and numerical count is like your count function. Maximum, minimum and the summation is being provided. In case you cannot see all these values, just right click anywhere on the bar at the bottom of Excel, right click anywhere over there and check or uncheck, tick or untick all these values. So whatever you want to see, you can tick mark it. Whatever you don't want to see, you can untick the same. So you can tick or untick these values. You can just click or click again to check or uncheck whatever you want to view on the bottom bar of the screen. Whatever you want to view in the bottom bar, at the bottom bar of the screen, right click, check and uncheck. Everybody with me on this? Everyone comfortable till here? Sure? This simple? Anywhere in the bottom line, anywhere in the bottom bar. Anywhere, absolutely. Alright, let's move forward everybody. I hope this is fine till here. Let's move the next sheet round. Let's move the next sheet round. Now I have a number in between over here. I have a number on my screen. I'll just, sorry. So I have this number on the screen and now I want to round it off. There are three functions we'll be using over here, and there's something more to normal rounding off, I'll tell you. And combining with a lot of things, you know, the decimals and all, and it is very useful in a lot of places. I'll show it to you in the later files. So you're going to be learning three functions: round, round up, and round down. Now the job of a round function is to round off to the nearest multiple. Now the functions will all have two inputs. One, which number you want to round it off, comma, and the second input. So when you have multiple inputs, you need to segregate it using a comma button. So you press comma and you can put input 1, comma input 2, comma input 3, because multiple inputs might be required. The round function, now say for example you have a number 45.5. So 45.5, 6, 7, 8, 9 should become 46, and 45.4321 should become 45. That is what a round function will do. A round up function will make a 45.12376 whatever 46, never 45. Round up always to a integer above. Round down function, exactly as the name suggests, it would make 45.1278 whatever at 45. That is what the round, round up and round down function does. Round will take you to the nearest integer, round up will take you to the next highest integer, and round down will take you to the value below. So the first thing is round, round up and round down functions. The two inputs, one input is going to be the number that you want to round off, and the second input will be the number of decimal places that you want to round it off to. Bear with me for a minute, and then I'll tell you I'll show you the difference between a few things. Just be very attentive. So suppose equals to round, and I use this number, and I want to round it off to, let's say, 0 decimal place. If you want to round it off to a whole number, you use a 0 decimal place. Just observe. When I increase the number of decimals, it's 567,888.00. If I remove the decimal, it becomes 567,888. But if I add the decimals over here, the number is not changing. Using a round down function to convert millions, if you have a figure like, let's say, your balance sheet is in crores or millions or something, you have 56.2878 million, and you round it off, your trial balance, your balance sheet will not tally, and you will create a mess of your numbers. So please be very careful where you're supposed to be using a round function and where you're supposed to be hiding or unhiding these values. You can choose to show the values at, let's say, Control Shift 1, comma with 2 decimal places. We just discussed, right? You can change the number to Control Shift hyphen 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. We'll discuss this shortcut again a little later. So let me stick to the round function over here. The round function is actually going to change the number. When you're using these buttons over here to hide or show more decimal places, you're not changing the number. You're just changing the show of the number, the visibility of the number. But when you're using the round function, your number is actually getting rounded off. Is that clear, everyone? Now, say for example, I change the function a little bit, equals to round of the number, and let's say 2 decimal places. The number is rounding off to 2 decimal places, 56.5600. So you can choose the number of decimal places that you want to round it off to. Suppose I want to round down. Let's say round down this number to, let's say, 1 decimal place. Had you used a round function, it would have become 0.6. But in this case, it's becoming 0.5 because it's a round down function. So it will never give you a number higher. It will always take a level down. So it will always give you a number that is lower. Is everyone comfortable? Round up will always take you to a higher number. Round down to a lower number. And round, it will depend whether it's 0.5 or above and whether it is below. If it's 0.5 and above, it will round up. If it is 0.5 below, it is going to round down. Is that comfortable? Now this is very basic. So this you can do. There's something extra that needs to be taken care of. Now say for example, you are the HR department, you are an HR personnel. You have a lot of list of all the employees' details, or let's say you are paying you're paying taxes. You need to calculate the amount of taxes to be paid. Now in a lot of places we have the taxes need to be paid in, let's say, to the nearest tens or to the upper tens or the nearest 10 suppose. Nearest tens means if I have a value of 5,67,887.56, I would round it off to 5,67,890. Be very attentive to the nearest tens. I want a 0 in the last decimal. What I'll do is equals to, let's say, round to the nearest. Nearest is round, upper is round up, to the lower value is round down. I want to round up this number. When you want a whole number, you put 0 decimal places. Actually, one more thing, when you start typing the number, when you start using the inputs, the input being asked is in bold, so the number is being asked. I select number and I press comma, and the second input becomes bold, and that is asking for the number of digits. So what input you need to enter is being described when you are typing the function. That description comes in over here. When you're looking at the number of digits, when you want a whole number, you press 0, you want 0 decimal places. When you want 2 decimal places, you type 2. In this case, I want 1 0 before the decimal, I'll type -1. I want to round it off to -1 decimal places and press enter, and you see you've got the value 5,67,890. I'll change this -1 to -2 and I'll get the nearest hundreds. I'll change this -2 to -3 and I'll get the nearest thousands. So 0 decimal places, the number of digits is 0. You want 1, 2 or 3 digits after the decimal, you take 1, 2 or 3. If you want to round it off to nearest tens, hundreds or thousands, you take -1, -2, -3. So in case of, it depends on whether you want decimals after 0, then you use the round down function. If you want to decrease the value, you use the round down function, and in a similar manner, it will always give you the nearest thousands below. So round up and round down. Round is to the nearest integer, round up to the higher one, round down to the lower one. That is the functionality. The inputs for all the three, your -1, -2 will work in all the three functions. So your 0 decimal places for whole number, 1, 2 or 3 decimal place depends on how many decimal places you want. -1, -2, -3 would be if you want nearest tens, hundreds. I want to convert it into millions. So -6 would be the answer. So that is how you can convert it to nearest hundreds or thousands. Right? Quickly try this, quickly fill this up. You've got the nearest whole number, nearest 2 decimal, nearest thousands. So you've got the practice for round, round up and round down. Quickly try this, I'll give you a few minutes. Speed up, please. -3. We'll check later. Are we good till here? Can we move forward? Alright, 2 more minutes. You can always cross check with the solution files, so they'll be provided. -3 से नहीं हो रहा है. I'll check. Alright guys, we'll move forward. Everyone, we have a lot to cover. Alright everybody, you can try this, you'll have the practice file, you'll have the solution files, you can try this. Now in the practice sheet, I'm not doing the practice sheet right now because they're very basic. So if we have difficult practice sheet, we'll do. You can try the practice sheet at home later. We'll see to that. Syntax is provided for all the different kind of functions that we've used over here. Right? The practice sheet will be, you can solve it on your own. It's very, very simple. We're just starting off with Excel. This completes your mathematical functions part 1 file.